And we are live with Toronto Stevie Live. And I just finished watching SummerSlam Night 2. And I'm doing my review of both nights of SummerSlam. I guess Nasty Neil, he mentioned on In Your Head that he was going to possibly do his own review, but then he posted something that I guess he caught a flu and probably isn't feeling well. So that opened the door for me to pop on tonight and give you my thoughts on both nights of the SummerSlam. So it was from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll start with Saturday evening, night one of SummerSlam. And, um, you know, at first we thought, um, Nasty Neil thought this was the main event, but no, this was actually starting off the night one. It was Liv Morgan defending the Women's World Championship against Io Sky, and um, they had um, quite a crowd. The one thing I was interested in watching SummerSlam was were they going to be able to fill the arena or fill the stadium, and it certainly looked like um, maybe that $25 ticket promotion really worked because it certainly looked like a lot of folks were in that stadium. So they got the opening match, Io Sky doing all of her moves, Liv Morgan trying to go for the Oblivion, and Io Sky getting out of it. And at one point, yeah, I think it was Io Sky hitting the sunset powerbomb on Liv Morgan outside the ring, so she couldn't pin Liv Morgan. You had the other Judgment Day women interfering in the match, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. One girl would tie up Jessica Carr, the referee, while the other one would interfere in the match behind the referee's back, trying to stop Io Sky. And eventually, Io Sky did take out both of them, and I think, the overhead shot had the two girls basically laid out right in front of the timekeepers or right in front of the announcers table, uh, leaving it as a one-on-one match. Um, you had Liv Morgan actually taking a page out of Chris Jericho's book and using code breakers. Um, at one point, Io Sky did hit Liv Morgan's own move, the Oblivion, tried to go for a pinfall, but Liv Morgan kicked out of it. And eventually, Liv Morgan did hit the Oblivion on Io Sky. Um, and I think, but Io Sky came back with a bullet train attack, but it was Liv Morgan um, getting out of the way. Um, she eventually did come back with another code breaker Oblivion combination, and she pinned Io Sky to retain the Women's World Championship. So Liv Morgan uh, continues as the Women's World Champion. Uh, yeah, good match. She definitely is the one with the momentum. So um, not surprised that she retained the title. Right away, they went to all of the old wrestlers in the arena. You had former AEW employee. Now, I guess he's no longer working for AEW. That's Mark Henry. They had X Pac um, shown in the crowd. And surprisingly, you saw Dangerous Danny Spivey, who was formerly known as Waylon Mercy. Uh, you've probably seen him on Dark Side of the Ring. Danny Spivey was there, followed by the ageless wonder himself, WWE Hall of Famer, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart was there. Jimmy still looks ageless, probably hasn't aged in about 50 years. Up next was the six-man tag team match. The Bloodline, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and Jacob Fatu taking on Royski, Solo Sikoa, and L.A. Knight. This was like, as I described on In Your Head, as if you had six guys on your roster, shuffle the deck and say, you're wrestling in this match. So you had, I guess, um, theoretically, you had five baby faces and one heel, basically Solo Sikoa. But as I said, WWE is trying to turn Solo Sikoa into a baby face. And um, to be fair, it certainly seemed like the baby faces in this match were LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys. I was kind of thinking in the past few weeks that maybe, yeah, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, could turn heel. Jacob, probably not. The fans really like Jacob Fatu. I mean, they're into the geek chances of Jay Uso, but I wouldn't be surprised if one day they eventually just turn heel, probably on Fatu. Um, Maybe even Roman Reigns and Fatu, possibly. But you had, I think, both Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa um, um, going for Samoan drops, and you had I think it was Jimmy Uso hitting his Uso splashes, and Royce Keys, the former powerhouse Hobbs, hitting some really good looking powerful spine busters, and he also at one point I think he even hit the world's strongest slam, with Mark Henry in attendance. They even pointed that out by the announcers, but it was L.A. Knight actually. I think um, he's the one who eventually he hit Jey Uso with the blunt force trauma and pinned him 1, 2, 3. So it was Royski, Solo Sikoa, and LA Knight winning this match. Um, I mean, when you got to think about it, where do they go from here with all of these guys? Probably the only one that kind of benefits from this is probably going to be Solo Sikoa. Um, Probably taking on, maybe getting into a feud with the Usos and Jacob Fatu. So backstage, you have Gunther warming up. Um, there is a video of um, the SummerSlam Takeover Superstore, and then we head back to the arena. It is the Ring General Gunther taking on Nick Aldis. This is Nick Aldis' first wrestling match in the WWE. He is a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He was also the former Brutus Magnus in TNA. And this is they mentioned multiple times that he hasn't had a wrestling match in 3 years, and that he is now has his first match in WWE. And we have Mr. Chobo. How are you doing, buddy, during the uh, SummerSlam? Freaking awesome. Watching The Babysitter. I don't. You'd have to explain that, Anthony. I don't quite understand it, but Anthony must have really liked SummerSlam. Anthony, did you like night one, night better than night two, or night two better than night one, or what? In my opinion, I thought night two was better than night one, but we'll get into that. So Nick Aldis, he actually, and they actually were pretty good at just landing shots against each other. Gunther and Nick Aldis. Um, Aldis, like considering he's been off for about three years, certainly didn't show too much ring rust. I certainly didn't see it. He certainly looks like he's in great shape. Probably kept himself in shape in 3 years. Um, but his big move was the clover leaf. Eventually, he got it on Gunther and tried to make him tap out. but Gunther got out of it, powered out of it. At one point, they showed Nick Aldis's family at ringside, and this included Mickey James. Mickey James was there, and Aldis, their son was also at ringside. And I think at one point, Gunther climbed out of the ring and he actually taunted Mickey James um, uh, and Aldis's son. Nonetheless, getting back to the into the ring, um, Gunther tried to put the sleeper hold on Nick Aldis, but at one point Nick Aldis was able to get out of it, and the crowd in the stadium is yelling, "You still got it!" at Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis. They mentioned the commentators mentioned Nick Aldis. Um, um, was a huge fan of the British Bulldog Davy Boy Smith and Bret Hart, and there were a couple of mentions of the SummerSlam 1992 main event between the two. And at one point, Nick Aldis actually did get a no, not a they called it a running power slam, but really Nick Aldis just picked up Gunther, took about one step and dropped him. I wouldn't really consider that a running power slam. Nick Aldis eventually did hit the cloverleaf, as I said, but Gunther got out of it. But unfortunately, Gunther he hit the power bomb on Aldis, got a 2 count, and that's when he immediately transitioned to the elbows, and then he locked Aldis into another sleeper hold. Nick Aldis fought for it for a few minutes, but eventually he tapped out. So the winner of the match, as a result of the submission, was Gunther. And I liked the post match here because Gunther quickly got out of the ring, and this allowed Mickey James and their son Donovan to get in the ring. And it was kind of like, and the crowd is still yelling, "You still got it!" at Aldis. I'm kind of wondering if this was like a one shot only thing, and that Nick Aldis was just in it for one match. Because considering what happened on night 2, and we'll get to that. But the next match was a 6-woman tag team match. It was the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie Bella, along with Paige, taking on Fatal Influence, the team of JC Jane, and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley. This was Nikki Bella's return to the ring. As you know, she could not compete in the tag team match, and Paige had to take her place, and that's why they won the tag team titles. Um, oh, so it looks like Anthony is saying night 2. So yes, he agrees with me that night 2 was better than night 1. Um, and Anthony, what did you think of this one? I had predicted, so I was speculating on in your head that Nasty Neil said something should happen at night 2, and I suspected and I just guessed, well, what if Cody Rhodes turns heel on night 1, and that's all they'd be talking about on night 2? Well, spoiler alert, that did not happen. However, in this 6-woman tag team match, you had the Fatal Influence girls. They were able to get a pinfall on Paige. JC Jane hit her with what's called the rolling encore and pinned her 1, 2, 3. Fatal Influence wins the match, and they immediately get out of the ring, leaving the Bella Twins to pick up Paige from, and then as they're posing in the ring, that's when Nikki Bella turned on Paige, hit her with the Rack Attack 2.0, and just left her laying. So that was the heel turn from night 1. Certainly kind of a disappointment, not exactly. I'm pretty certain, and nobody was talking about Nikki Bella the next night. Take my word for it. So there was a video tribute of AAA Triple Mania coming soon, and then the next match was for the undisputed WWE Championship. It was the champion CM Punk wearing some classic Minnesota North Stars gear, taking on Cody Rhodes. And this one was actually a very good match. I was quite impressed with the main event of the show. Um, you um, you had, of course, you had Cody Rhodes trying to hit his crossroads on Punk. Punk would get out of it. He did hit some Cody cutters. I think he did. He was able to get it down on Punk. Punk at one point did get the Anaconda Vice on Cody Rhodes and tried to make Cody Rhodes submit, but Cody would get out of it. Um, and eventually, I think CM Punk did hit go to sleep on Cody Rhodes, um, but couldn't get a pinfall. Um, Cody did get a Cody cutter and a disaster kick, but he couldn't put Punk away. And then eventually, I think he hit a super Cody cutter, tried to pin Punk again, but only got a 2 count. Um, and then Cody did get CM Punk into the figure 4 leg lock, but Punk turned it over, and Rhodes had to give it up. And then eventually, I think, Punk did counter with the Anaconda Vice. Cody was going for an Alabama Slam, but Punk countered out of it, and then put on another Anaconda Vice. This was going back and forth and back and forth. And then, because Cody got out of it and hit a crossroads, got a 2 count. And then the finish. The finish came completely out of the blue. Instead of Cody Rhodes turning heel on CM Punk, he got I think the referee, at one point, the referee got knocked down, and Cody hit a crossroads, and Punk hit a crossroads, and Punk's momentum carried him out of the ring, and he just kind of disappeared for a second, and you couldn't even see him on screen, leaving Cody in the ring by himself. And the crowd saw this first before Cody, because you could hear the noise and you knew that something was happening. And that's when Randy Orton snuck up behind Cody Rhodes. He got a huge reaction when the crowd realized who it was, and Randy just turned Cody around and hit a beautiful RKO, and basically Cody was out of it. That's when Punk climbed back into the ring, and he hit another go to sleep and pinned Cody Rhodes 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. This was, but this was not the main event of the show, because then came the video promoting the Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi Hell in a Cell match, and that's when they brought out, I think it was Obafemi came out first. He did his little strut down the long rampway, got into the ring, and then he's waiting for it seemed like an insurmountable long amount of time. Brock Lesnar comes into there, and the ring announcer Aisha Taylor, I think that's her name, she introduces Obafemi, and that's when, and as soon as she does that, Paul Heyman takes the microphone away from her, and he gives his own introduction of Brock Lesnar. And then the cell finally lowered, and this was an entertaining main event as well, because you had 2 powerhouse guys just at one point hitting bombs on each other. And you had Brock Lesnar taking Obafemi to Suplex City of about five or six German suplexes, and Obafemi was able to get up from some of them. Fantastic. They were in the cell, but they didn't really use the cell as a weapon very much. I think Obafemi did set up I think he set up a table and slammed Brock into a table at one point. Um, and Brock Lesnar would go for the F5, and he did actually hit an F5. Um, but Obafemi didn't go for a pinfall because Obafemi got up and hit him with a fall from grace, and he went for the pinfall on Brock, but Brock kicked out at 2. So you knew this was going to be a little bit different. There was a callback to Brock's match with the Undertaker because Brock did the sit up and laughed right into Obafemi's face. He then hit an F5 on Oba, but Oba got up immediately. He hits a second F5 on Oba, and then a third F5 and went for the pinfall, but Obafemi kicked out. And I think this was when Brock Lesnar did the Undertaker throat slash, and at one point he grabbed the mats, ripped them up, exposing the wood underneath the mats, and that's when he hit a tombstone pile driver on Obafemi. This was incredible. He protected Obafemi, made sure he didn't get injured, but he hit the tombstone, and then he wrapped the arms across like Undertaker used to do, stuck his tongue out, and basically did the Undertaker pose. But he only got a 2 out because Obafemi kicked out on 2. He fired up. Brock tried to hit him with a steel chair, but Obafemi just punched it out of his hand. He hits a fall from grace and pinned him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. The winner of the match was Obafemi, and basically Michael Cole declared that Obafemi was the next big thing. And I noticed that Oba didn't immediately get out of the ring. Instead, Brock Lesnar got a microphone. He asked Obafemi to, come back and stand beside him. The Minnesota crowd gave Brock a huge ovation. And Brock took the microphone and said, "Minnesota, the whole wide world is watching this shit tonight. Come here, Oba. Here's the future of WWE. Congratulations. This is the future, ladies and gentlemen." Brock then pointed to himself and said, "This is the past." Then he points at Oba and says, "This is the future." And it was a great way to close off SummerSlam with Obafemi being basically it's being considered a pass the torch of Obafemi as the next big thing, and it certainly was the right way to put Oba over. Whether or not this is Brock Lesnar's final match, I think Brock's about 49 years of age. I mean, if he wants to come back again, he could always come back again. He's probably in great shape. But the last 2 matches really made night 1, I mean. They made it Cody Rhodes and CM Punk and Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. A halfway decent show. I'm glad I watched it. But this heads into night 2 of SummerSlam. Again, Minneapolis, Minnesota. This time you had Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. And you had Finn Balor. So Finn Balor and Sami Zayn come out for their supposed one-on-one match to determine the number 1 contender for CM Punk's undisputed WWE title. Um, but before the match can start, Nick Aldis comes out onto the stage and he basically announces that he is once again the SmackDown General Manager. And as the SmackDown General Manager, he announces that he has made an executive decision, and that's when he says there's another competitive participant in this match, and it is Gunther. So Gunther comes out, he shakes hands with Nick Aldis, and he heads down into the ring. And it certainly looks like that instead of a one-on-one match, it's going to be a triple threat match. And Sami Zayn is obviously pissed off that Nick Aldis is changing this. But before this match can get started, Nick Aldis gets on the microphone again and says, "One more thing. I didn't say I was only adding one more participant to this match. I've made the executive decision, and it's a fatal four-way match." So he basically announces that another participant will take part, and that's when Kevin Owens comes out, and the crowd is just shocked. Sami Zayn is shocked, mouth wide open, frozen, can't believe what he's seen. And it's Kevin Owens comes out, and he comes down to the ring. He gets in the ring, and it's the four of them. As the bell rings, Kevin Owens starts the match with a cannonball on Gunther, and then he goes face to face with Sami Zayn. Sami is still kind of stunned, but eventually he and Kevin Owens start fighting. I think Kevin hit a senton on Sami Zayn. He's throwing Gunther around the ring. He actually pretty good. He was doing a lot of moves, swanton bombs. He did take some punishment. I think he took like a kick from Gunther, um, and he did do some bumps onto his neck and upper back. But he certainly looked like certainly looks like he was recovered and he could take the punishment. Um, so he eventually had all four of these guys going back and forth and back and forth. One guy would hit a move, like for example, Balor hitting the coup de grace and trying to go for a pinfall and someone else breaking it up, or Gunther trying to put a sleeper hold on someone and someone else breaking it up. Back and forth and back and forth. Um, and eventually, the finish comes when Sami Zayn is going for a haluva kick, but Kevin Owens counters with a super kick and a stunner. He puts a pin 1, 2, 3, and Kevin Owens is your new number one contender for CM Punk's title. So obviously the next challenger for CM Punk will be Kevin Owens. I was thinking as I'm watching this, you know that both CM Punk and Kevin Owens were in Ring of Honor at one point, but I was wondering if at some point they cross paths in Ring of Honor. I, if anybody knows about that, please let me know because I wasn't a Ring of Honor fan at that time, so I'm not sure if they did. But the second match of the night, WWE United States Championship, Trick Williams defending the title against Baron Corbin. And I was quite shocked by this. You had Baron Corbin, and I kind of joked on In Your Head Wrestling Radio that, yeah, Baron Corbin, I'll put butts in the seats. And, Corbin, he did, what you're going to get from him. You're going to get his end of days move. You're going to get a lot of punches and a lot of kicks. You're going to get the deep six. And he actually did hit a deep six on Trick Williams outside, so he couldn't go for a pinfall. You had Little Yachty trying to interfere in the match, and Baron Corbin just beating up Little Yachty. Um, but eventually, you had Corbin grabbing the United States Championship belt, and he left it in the ring, and he he eventually oh yes, before that I think he slammed Little Yachty, who went through a table. Um, so yes, while the referee was distracted, Baron Corbin hits Trick Williams with the United States Championship in the face, then follows that up with an end of days and 1, 2, 3. So Baron Corbin, of all people, is your new United States champion. I don't know. I was not a fan of that. I did not think that Baron Corbin should have won the United States Championship. Um, I mean, they've got a future main eventer with Trick Williams. Maybe this is maybe they're um, planning an immediate or a future world championship run for Trick Williams. We'll have to wait and see. Um, we'll have to wait and see if maybe it's Trick against Roman Reigns later on. Maybe I'm just guessing here. But the next match of the night, ladder match for the interim WWE Women's Championship match, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill versus Chelsea Green versus Charlotte Flair versus Lash Legend. And if you had like all of these women in one match, who is the number one person you would think was gonna win this match? Was gonna win a belt? And if you had to ask me before the match, I probably would have said Charlotte Flair. Okay. Well, the last person in the world you'd think would win an interim belt won them. So next up was the Intercontinental Championship match. Penta defending the title against Chad Gable. And this was a good babyface versus babyface match. Um, Penta, he was going for his Mexican Destroyer, and I think he kind of hit it on the outside on the ring apron, but he didn't get it all. He rolled Gable back into the ring. Gable countered with going for the ankle lock, and eventually Penta had to tap out, making Chad Gable the new champion. New Intercontinental Champion Chad Gable. I really liked the post match because Chad Gable's entire family came into the ring. It was like his wife, his children, and I think his parents. Chad Gable grabbed a microphone and said, "My name is Chad Gable, and I was born and raised, and I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota." He said his family has been with his. He says his family has been with him with his highs and the lows, and now I'm the Intercontinental Champion. So Chad gave that was a good feel good moment of the night. And this led into the main event of the evening. World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. I really like this main event. And for once, you kind of were expecting the bloodline to interfere in this match. The Usos, Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, all interfering some way or another. But, surprise, surprise, there was no interference. There was just these two guys going back and forth and back and forth. And Rollins hitting multiple stomps and trying to pin Roman. Roman would get out of it. Had Roman coming back with Superman punches and spears, but Seth would get out of it. The crowd was super into this match. And, You had Roman and Seth just punching each other back and forth, daring each other to keep hitting punches, and they would take the punches and come right back. This was just good old fashioned wrestling that you just wanted to see. Um, and then you had at one point Roman um, hitting his own stomp on Seth Rollins. Um, but I don't think Seth didn't hit any spears. He did mock Roman. I think maybe he tried to hit a spear. Um, um, he did hit some buckle bombs. At least one buckle bomb on Roman. Tried to hit him with a stomp, but Roman countered with his own buckle bomb. Um, but just went back and forth and back and forth. The finish comes. Roman hits a spear. No, and then he hit about 2 or 3 spears in a row in order to beat Seth Rollins. Um, so Roman Reigns retains the World Heavyweight title. So I certainly think that Kevin Owens, um, well, he's going for CM Punk, so that would leave Roman Reigns as next challenger. Um, that's a good question. What do we got here? Says, I hope Dom got paid a lot of money for doing that stupid. Yeah. Well, hopefully Dom got a good payoff for tonight because yeah, he was in. Yeah, like I said, night 2 was a great match, a great night, better than night 1, even if it had Danhausen on that show. So nonetheless, I would give night 2 a big, huge thumbs up. It was a great show, better than night 1, and I was impressed that they were able to fill the arena. I'm sure the $25 deal probably paid off, but we'll have to wait until Monday Night Raw to see the fallout, see what happens next, um, and see who is your next challenger. Maybe it's Trick Williams. It would be nice if they moved Trick from SmackDown to Raw and had him go after Roman Reigns, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's my review of SummerSlam. Let me know what you thought of the show, and I will get it up and edited when I finish. Thank you, and have a good night, everybody. And I am out of here. Bye bye, everybody.